The ongoing saga of Andretti's attempted entry as the 11th team on the grid had gone a little quiet over the winter, but as F1 leaves hibernation for another season of heart-pounding action, he's found a new ally. While the FIA have green-lighted his team as suitable and capable of running a competitive F1 outfit, Formula One management and owners Liberty Media aren't so sure. But could this be the boost that Andretti needs to finally get over the line? Or is he going to have to get lawyers involved to make the 2026 season deadline? Let's check it out. Michael Andretti, son of one of only two American F1 champions, Mario Andretti, has been trying to get his racing team onto the F1 grid for what feels like years now. Andretti Autosport are an established international racing team who found success in Formula E, Rallycross and IndyCar. They've won the Indy 500 6 times, which is something to be proud of. Andretti clearly knows how to run a racing team, and while the grid might argue that F1 is another step beyond any of those series, you can't get experience of racing in F1 without being in F1. One of the big question marks over the Andretti entry has been where they're going to get their engine from. F1 cars are complicated enough already, but the engines are a completely different beast. While a Porsche engine powered Andretti Autosport driver Jake Dennis to a championship victory last year in Formula E, Porsche doesn't build F1 engines, and neither does Andretti. As Brawn almost found out in 2009, it doesn't matter what else you have if you don't have an engine. Aero parts can be thrown together at short notice. They might not be good, but it can be done. Engines can't be though, and if Andretti are to compete in F1, then securing an engine is vital. A new set of regulations for Formula One will be introduced in 2026, and with them will be renewable fuels that, in theory, will be able to be used in any road car in the future, and increased electrification. For those new regulations, Andretti has confirmed that they will be partnering one of the biggest auto manufacturers in the world for their engine needs, General Motors. With the announcement, the president of General Motors, Mark Royce, said, "We're thrilled our new Andretti Cadillac F1 entry will be powered by a GM power unit. With our deep engineering and racing expertise, we're confident we'll develop a successful power unit for the series and position Andretti Cadillac as a true works team. We'll run with the very best, at the highest levels, with passion and integrity that will help elevate the sport for race fans around the world." The problem is that General Motors won't be ready with an engine until 2028. Like I said, F1 engines can't just be thrown together. They take years and years of work and refinement. There's a reason Red Bull powertrains started 2 years ago in preparation for supplying the team in 2026. Filling that gap has been a problem for Andretti. Most of the current grid are in open opposition to two Andretti-branded cars joining the existing 20, which means most of them aren't going to sell the team engines either. Luckily for Andretti, there is one team, or should I say engine manufacturer, that is desperate to find a new customer. Teams and drivers powered by Renault engines have won 12 constructors titles and 11 drivers titles. They powered the legendary Lotus team through the mid-80s. They helped Williams win multiple times through the 90s, and it was Renault engines that sat behind Sebastian Vettel when he won for Red Bull between 2010 and 2013. Since then though, the team's successes have been few and far between. Unceremoniously dropped by Red Bull for having a terrible engine. Dropped by McLaren after just 3 years for pretty much the same reason. And then as a factory team, either called Renault or Alpine, they've been firmly a midfield team since they rejoined the sport in 2016. When the Andretti bid was still fresh and looking like it would succeed, Renault put aside the problems that the rest of the grid had with Andretti and offered up their engine to tide them over until 2028. Don't be fooled into thinking it was out of the goodness of their hearts though, it was definitely a financial decision. Nonetheless, Andretti had his all-important engine, but as confirmation of the team's appearance on the grid has been delayed and delayed, the pre-contract agreement with Renault lapsed, leaving Andretti without an engine. Many people thought that might be the death of the Andretti entry until they could find a team to buy, and more on that later. Now though, Alpine team principal and vice president Bruno Famin appears to be open to restarting negotiations with Andretti in the future. Famin said, "We spoke to Andretti and General Motors, and if they get started, we'll be happy to resume the discussions. At the moment, everything is on hold because everything took a little longer than originally expected, and that preliminary agreement expired. But we would be happy to sit down at the table with Andretti to find a common solution. This is a massive boost for the Andretti bid, as without an engine supplier, they would have been left dead in the water, even if Formula One management did approve their entry. Now though, the team can at least drive when, or if they're allowed to enter the sport. In anticipation of getting their spot on the grid in 2025, the team have also begun vehicle testing. Speaking to Sky Sports F1, Michael revealed that car testing had started at Toyota's Cologne facility in Germany. Its wind tunnel was last used by McLaren as recently as August last year, before the Woking-based outfit moved to its own wind tunnel at its headquarters. He said, "Our car is actually going to be in the wind tunnel next week, so we have a car already built up in 2023 spec. We are flat out and we're building a team, so at the moment it's 25 but could be 26, we'll see." While the FIA has approved Andretti Autosport's entry into F1, FOM still has the final say on whether a team will be allowed in the sport or not. FOM represents the 10 existing teams, and it's safe to say the general reaction has been somewhat sour from them. The main point of contention stems from a splitting of the championship revenue, which would see each team receive less funding overall. But Michael believes that Andretti Autosport will bring more value financially than they may initially take away. He said, "They say we're slicing the pie, but I think the point is we hopefully bring in more than what we take away, and we really believe that. We think we're going to add to it and not take away from it. I think there's plenty to go around, and if I can help improve the popularity of the US from where it is today, then I think there are a lot of companies that are not in the series right now that have already contacted us and are interested in it. Once we get the approval, then they want to talk to us, so I disagree with that. This is a big sticking point for Andretti. While the rest of the grid don't want him in the sport, he is really going to struggle to find a place. For us fans, this whole process has been made worse by everything happening behind closed doors and Formula One's complete silence on the bid. F1 business expert Mark Gallagher now believes a legal battle could be the best route for Andretti to get his team into the sport. Gallagher revealed he has had a number of meetings with F1 team bosses who are upset about how Michael Andretti arrived in Monaco in 2023, publicly demanding support for his team's F1 entry. Of course, it's not even just about the money. It is, I'm told, also about the manner of the way in which Michael Andretti has gone about it. There is a degree of personal acrimony. It might be too strong a word, but a lot of the teams really did not appreciate the way Michael Andretti went about trying to kickstart his entry, turning up in Monte Carlo with a sheet of paper saying, "Sign here and let me have a slice of the action." I think they felt it was a backdoor grab to come in. Gallagher is of the opinion that if Formula One denies the Andretti bid just because the other team principals don't like Michael, then there will be massive problems for the sport. Of course, FOM and the current teams would never say they're denying his entry because they don't like him publicly. They would all come up with other reasons such as not bringing money or fears over competitiveness. My fear is that if Formula One rejects Andretti, they'll come up with all the reasons why they don't want to have it. I think we could see a lawsuit develop pretty quickly because Liberty's an American company. Formula One is listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Andretti has raised a huge amount of money, relatively speaking, in the United States. And if he has got General Motors lined up behind him, it's not impossible to see a classic American legal case develop to say, "We should be allowed in, and there's no good grounds on which you should be stopping us." It's anti-competitive to basically run the sport as an elite club. If it went this far, then Formula One might find itself screwed over by the sport's own laws. The FIA-written Formula One regulations state that the sport is allowed up to 12 teams with 2 cars each on the grid. So from a Formula One regulation standpoint, Andretti should be greenlit to join the grid. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem like it's going to happen for the time being. Another route onto the grid could be via a buyout of an existing team. Haas's struggles for competitiveness in recent years are well known. Obviously, not everyone can win in Formula One, and there always has to be a slowest team, but limited funding has ensured that Haas has been at the bottom of the pile for a very long time now. With their spiritual founder, Gunther Steiner, being let go by team owner Gene Haas over the winter, the wider media have seen it as an opportunity for Andretti to just buy his way in. Many people have even said that Steiner was let go so the team could be sold. Not that it would make any difference if he was there or not. Gene Haas has given a very firm response to all that speculation though. "I didn't get into F1 to sell," he insisted to the Formula One website. "I did it because I wanted to race. Gunther had the same perspective. We are not here to cash out. We want to race and be competitive. If you look at any team, historically, they've had a lot of good years and a lot of bad years. Surviving is one of the characteristics of getting better. As long as you can survive, you always have another year to prove your worthiness. This is a big change. Losing Gunther is going to cause the team to have to focus on other aspects. Will hopefully come out better for it. Like Andretti, Haas has a history as a successful racing team owner, but unlike Andretti, he doesn't have the backing of a massive company like General Motors. Whether the Haas team would be better off with Andretti as an owner is a mystery, and to say either way would be complete guesswork. And either way, it doesn't matter. Gene ain't selling, so for now, Andretti and the new ally Alpine will just need to keep on pushing at FOM until they're allowed a spot on the grid. Do you think Andretti will eventually be let in? And do you think he should be? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.